Hi Libra, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus. This is Dane, and I'm going to be doing your September 16th to the 30th, 2021 money and career reading for you. Now I ask if this reading resonates with you. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will be listed and linked in the description box below. Now before we begin this reading, let us clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from the body like storm clouds. Letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as we enter into this safe and loving space. Let's let the bowl sing as we see what the tarot has to say. Libra. September 16th to the 30th, 2021 Libra, money and career. Angels and spirit guides show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Oh, goodness. Okay, there we go. Angels and spirit guides show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. At the bottom is our rooted self. The left-hand side is our inner self. The middle, our heart, our emotional self. The right-hand side, the public arena, the public self. So let's see what the cards have to say. We have the Hierophant at our root. If we have Taurus within our natal chart, that's coming through very powerfully at our root. Then we have Strength. So if we have Leo in our natal chart, that's going to be coming through very powerfully at our root once again. Then we have the Ace of Earth. This is the Ace of Pentacles, so prosperity and success. We like to see that in finance readings and also career readings. We have the Craftsman of Air. This is us being a craftsman, being able to figure things out, work things together, have things, fall into place and see things in a new light. So that's going to be highly beneficial for us. We then have the Three of Wands, which is showing us a bright future. Also with the Craftsman of Air, that's air sign energy, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. So if we have this within our natal chart, that's going to be very powerful, not just simply the Libra energy, which is of course what we are, but also the Gemini or the Aquarius, and also Libra, wherever else it might show up within our chart. The world starts opening up to us as we start looking at a new horizon, which makes perfect sense. It then leads us to the Ten of Cups, prosperity, success, bounty, love, and they all live happily ever after. And then justice, us. It's us living happily ever after, which is the most brilliant statement you can get in the public arena. But there is a sense here of like, I get to rejoice. I get to rejoice. I get to celebrate. And that's pretty darn awesome, Libra. Okay, let's see what energy we have to be mindful of. Angels and spirit guides show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. And that's the Hierophant. So we have this at our root. It's going to be an energy that really blesses us, but it's also going to be an energy we have to be mindful of that can kind of be gotten out of hand. So with the Hierophant, it is a sense of success and tradition and prosperity and sensuality and purpose, right? So when it's in its negative form, what we boil down everything to is what purpose does it serve? And if it doesn't serve a purpose, it cannot be. Now, we might say that sounds very logical. If it doesn't serve a purpose, why would we need it? But if it doesn't have a purpose to lay down in the grass and watch the clouds go by as you laugh with your friends, or as you pick out shapes in the clouds with your kids, or your loved ones, it doesn't serve a purpose, but it's darn enjoyable. So why would you let that go? Here, it's making sure everything isn't based on how much money we're earning, how far we are progressing, because those things are good, and yes, we have to be aware of them. But if we make them our whole entire life, that isn't good. And so we have to be mindful of that. We also are going to find ourselves very drawn to people who are highly successful, because, as human beings, that's what we do. We look at people and compare ourselves, because back in, ancient times, it was good to say, wow, if that hunting group is doing really well, what are they hunting? How are they, doing things, and can I copy it? But now it's very harmful. It is, because there is so much that we compare ourselves to, and so much that we compare ourselves to. And, the media and everything just keeps on giving us more and more and more to compare ourselves to and find us wanting. So here, when we look at people who are highly successful, and we look at people who really seem to be making it, we're only seeing a small surface part. We're only seeing a small little bit that they're even allowing us to see. And so here, it's kind of like step back. Step back and don't fall prey to the illusion of perfect success, because there never is perfect success. It then moves us to our chakra energy. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Forgiveness. That's the heart chakra. It's one of my favorite cards because it's deep and it's heavy, and I like things that way. And so here with forgiveness, when we open up our heart chakra, it's not just forgiving others. There's something very powerful in the forgiveness of others. Yes, absolutely. But there's something even more powerful in the forgiveness of ourselves. To say, I open up my heart to me. I forgive me for not living up to the expectations that people had when I was born. I forgive me for being different, for standing out, for, not being able to fight back, not being able to have a voice, for being too young, for being too naive, for being too whatever. I forgive me. Because when we open up the heart chakra and we start to forgive ourselves, we start to call forward wealth. And we're not just doing this to enhance our bank accounts, though it's a nice side effect. But it's like, I forgive everything that keeps me small, silent, and invisible. I forgive, and I'm not hiding away anymore. And I'm not fighting the past anymore. I'm embracing the present, and that's what leads us to the Hierophant in the best possible way. The way of, I sit on my throne. The way on, this is my success, and this is my passion, and this is my power, and this is me. Period. End of discussion. There is nothing and no one that will hold me back or silence me. The Hierophant in medieval times, the Hierophant in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck is represented by the Pope. And in medieval times, the Pope was the powerhouse of the land, in medieval Europe. And so here, we have the sense of, I am the powerhouse of the land. I can tell kings and queens, emperors and empresses what to do, because I am connected. And if we step back and just say that there is stardust coursing through our veins, that we are all made up by the bit of a universe, by the bit of the universe, and say, well, that sounds like poetry, but yet it's science. Why can't we be the rulers of our own domain? Why can't we embrace our passion and our desire, and yes, have checks and balances so that we don't go off the deep end in certain things, or we don't have delusions, but to know that we have the power to be able to embrace the way that we want to move forward in our lives, to be able to embrace who we are and what we desire and what we need and how we see ourselves. And it moves us to the Strength card, where as we claim this power, we also claim strength. We stare into the abyss and say, there is more here than meets the eye. This isn't about how fancy the car is that you drive or how big the house. It is the strength of the inner self. And this also isn't about, the size of our muscles or how, envious people can be of our bodies. It is the strength that we have within our hearts. As I always say, and people can roll their eyes, that the strongest woman I ever knew was my great-grandmother, who lived through 2 world wars, who lived through an abusive relationship that there was no way out of, that was an arranged marriage, lived through all these things, and still was one of the kindest, nicest people you could ever meet. That takes strength. To pass away at 98 years old, and yet still have your kindness, have lived through everything, and yet still retain your heart. That's tremendous. That is what strength is. That's what we're being called to. And yet that's what gets messed up as the whole world bombards us with everything else. And then it moves us to the ace of earth. In our inner selves, we know we're supposed to be prosperous. And there's a thing to say, yes, I know I'm supposed to be prosperous. And there's another thing to say, well, what is prosperity to me? Again, the cars and the houses and, everything like that, that's all well and good. But I've seen and known plenty of people who have more money than you can shake a stick at, more money than they could spend in a lifetime, and they're miserable. They're still searching. They're still pushing the envelopes. They're still trying to be more. What is our happiness? What is our idea of success? And it's individualized. And it's saying it's time to embrace it. It's time to embrace our idea of success, our idea of prosperity. It's time to take the bounty that divinity is giving us and become the craftsman of our own paths forward. Become the craftsman of our passions and our insights and the way our minds are putting things together and the breaking of limitations and calling forward what we love and what we want and who we are. This is a time where we see things differently. This is a time where we can become a little bit ingenious. And so this is a time where we have to trust our instincts and trust our mind and open up the door and not see ourselves as held back, not see ourselves as limited, but limitless. And then it brings us to the Three of Wands. It brings us to a place of passion. It brings us to a place of looking out at the horizon and seeing things differently. Why? Because we've just started to quantify ourselves differently. We've just started to look at ourselves in a very different way. And that opens up a door that is astounding, that leads us forward in a way that we think, oh, wow, could this possibly be? And there's a sense of, yes, it absolutely can. And it brings us then to the world. So as we stand looking at a new horizon, the world starts to open us to us, and we start to open to the world. Because we start to say, well, maybe I can claim a space. Maybe there is a place for me. Maybe there is this passionate insight, this beautiful ideal, this positive, powerful way forward that can lead me to something so much greater than I imagined, so much more than I am right now. And when we say we claim the world, it doesn't mean that we have to jet set, whatever it's called, all over the place. What it means is that we stand within the world and we leave our footprints. We stand in such a way that we stand quietly and gently and kindly, but we leave the impact of having lived, of having expressed, having become, having embraced. And so when it comes to our money and our career, it's important to understand that the limits we had seen before are starting to fall away. The way that we had judged our success is starting to become different. There's a new horizon that's opening up our hearts. There's a new way that our soul wants to move forward. It's time to say, yes, I can, instead of, no, I can't. And then it brings us to the Ten of Cups. It brings us to love. It brings us to healing. It brings us to beauty. It brings us to success. And they all live happily ever after. But again, this is all individualized. My happiness may not be your happiness, may not be the person standing next to your happiness. So here, it's understanding that though we might say, oh, I want to be happy, and people will use the same words, their definitions for them are quite different. And the definitions of what makes them happy can be quite different. It's very much, I remember I was reading an article or listening to somebody, a psychologist, talk, and they said that a lot of fights are not started over the fact that the words that we are using aren't defined by the person the way that we mean to define them. We all have our little bit different way of using and defining words, right? It's not all, Webster Dictionary or Oxford Dictionary type of thing. And so here when we're looking at our happiness, it's understanding that it's going to be different. And yet we need to step back and say, what makes me happy? Is it living in the middle of the city, or is it living in the country? Is it having, people around me all the time, or is it being more solitary? And it's letting that happiness guide us and not thinking that we're wrong because it doesn't match what's being advertised on television or what other people say we should be wanting. Because if we follow our happiness, if we follow our hearts and we come from a place of love and kindness, respect and responsibility, we will see that it brings us to a place where the dreams really start to open up. It brings us to a place where it's like, wow, this is me. And this can be me. I can live a life where there's joy at the center of it. And then that joy permeates all throughout it. And it brings us into justice. It brings us into ourselves. This is saying during this time, be discerning. When it comes to your money, when it comes to your career, when it comes to the way that you're moving forward, Libra, be discerning. Don't say yes to everything. Don't say no to everything. Look at things to say, how does it vibrate with you? How does the energy vibration correlate with your desires, your heart, your soul, and yourself? If it's not right for you, walk away. Everybody isn't going to be happy every moment of every day. But this is saying here that we as an individual, we matter. And so trying to align ourselves towards a place where we play towards our strengths, towards a place where we listen to the inner voice within us, towards a place where we feel as if we're standing softly but profoundly on this earth, means everything. And when it comes to our money, when it comes to our career, it starts to open up the doors more. It starts to open up the doors career-wise. We become the craftsman. We start to kind of build things together, see things moving together in a way we hadn't seen it before. It opens up our wallets. It just does. It opens us to a place of success and bounty, because it's like there's authenticity here. And it's not the statement of authenticity with nothing to back it. It's the saying, this is me. This is what I bring to the table. This is what I follow through on. This is my passion. This is my power. I'm showing up. And when we show up for ourselves, we change the whole entire game. Our subconscious energy to be mindful of is the Prince of Swords. Now, this is us, right? We're represented by the swords, by air in the minor arcana, by Libra in the major arcana. We can be charging forward without thinking things through. We can be the one that's saying, you know what, that's it. I'm going to conquer. I'm going to go after. I'm just going to go. I've had enough of waiting, enough of planning. Now's the time. That's fair. That is absolutely fair. But with the with the Knight of Swords, with the Prince of Swords, we have to be very mindful not to let ourselves just move forward, because we just want action. As air sign energies, we can get frustrated and we just want action. Any sort of action would be better than the inertia that we are in right now. So stepping back and stepping into ourselves and making sure that we calm ourselves and center ourselves before we do anything and we check in, that's going to be very important. It's also going to be very important because we're going to be really drawn to people who are doing, who are going, who are, exciting. And those people can be exciting, but they also can be running away from something. And so be mindful of that. Sometimes it's the quiet people who, really embrace contentment, really embrace what they desire from life. It moves us then to our subconscious chakra energy, and it's the heart chakra once again, and now it's play. Now, the big thing about play, and the one thing I find fascinating about play, is that as human beings, we cannot embrace and play if we do not feel safe. So when people say, wow, I haven't laughed like that in years, or oh my gosh, I haven't enjoyed myself like that in years, it's because they haven't felt safe within their world, within themselves for years. And that's a profound statement. And so here when we're embracing play, it's saying, let yourself laugh. Let your heart be light. Just do things that promote play. Even if you find yourself in a state that you think, I can't really embrace the joy that I want within my life right now. Like, it just almost seems impossible. Taking time to watch a movie that makes us laugh. Taking time to, scroll through things on our phone that aren't, doomsday things, but joyous things and silly things. That's going to be important because it starts to raise our energy vibration. And the raising of our energy vibration is everything. It moves us then to our subconscious rooted message. And we have the mage. The mage is the magician. And the magician, as above, so below, stands before the altar of their existence and calls forward their elemental powers, says that what I think has power, has presence, has purpose, and it is what I am creating. And so here, with the mage, we're going to see at the subconscious level within our rooted self. Our minds are everything. What we focus on within our minds, what we focus on from our thoughts and the energy that is around us is what we cultivate within our waking world. Even if our minds are like, I just hate this, I don't want to be here anymore, I can't believe this, that's what we're going to get. So be very, very mindful of the way you're thinking, of the subconscious and the conscious thoughts that are running through your head. Also, as we stand before the altar of our existence, this is a time to understand our own personal power, our own personal way of being able to succeed and achieve, that's going to be beautiful. It moves us to our subconscious inner self. And that's the Ace of Water. That is God, Source, Spirit, however you see the divine, the universe, cleansing us, cleansing away the heartbreaks, the pains, the disappointments. It's as if we're getting a gift and all the hurt is washing away so that we can craft the prosperity that we want. And it doesn't mean that this happens instantaneously. It doesn't mean that we're never going to be hurt or upset again. What it means is that we embrace our hearts, we embrace our passions, we embrace our souls, and the stagnation of the heart starts to wash away. The stagnation that has been through disappointments, failures, hurts, and pains starts to wash away. This can also make us a little bit sensitive, and we'll have a tendency to take things personally before we step back and we say, okay, you know what? I'm embracing me. I'm going after what I love, what I need, what I want. It's not personal. Now it's time to be powerful. Excuse me. It moves us to our subconscious emotional self. And that is the Ace of Cups once again. Again, we're having the waters wash us clean. This time, the cups are at home in their emotional self. And so here, we're embracing our emotional healing, prosperity, understanding. We're having our cup runneth over. So there's literally a filling up of the emotional state that we have been in, and it's washing it out. It's like pushing out the muck in the drains and being able to embrace our success of heart, our passion of soul, our beauty of self. It moves us then to our subconscious public self, and that's the Five of Cups. Now, there's an ending here. There's, someone left for dead, right? And that's in a figurative sense, where instead of looking at what has fallen, what isn't, we see the two cups that stand, and we see that there's still the future that lays before us. And so we embrace love. We embrace the healing. Because if we don't, the mourning can be forever. It's time to change our minds and change our lives. It's time to understand that, yes, we've had setbacks and hurts and pains and disappointments. That doesn't get to define us. Our success does. The healing does. The unity does. And even our success gets to define us up to a certain point, until we get to say, but this is who I am. This is what I love. This is what I desire for my life. And this is the power of me. All right, Libra. I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I am sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all, and stay safe. Let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy as we embrace the bounty and the healing that is a part of us during this time. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Libra.